Hey friends, Tux here. It's been a few months since I've talked about this particular DAP, and I wanted to do a little update, answer a few questions, and to say that this Cappsu, that's Cappsu HiFi music player, is still a really good value, and I do use this actually. It's held up incredibly well. The build of it is really nice. In fact, this feels like metal. It's like a plastic metal alloy, but it has a good amount of weight to it, so it definitely feels like a higher quality device that it really has a right to at the price point that you can get this at. I will have a link for this device right below, so be sure and click that link to get yours at the very best price. But if you're looking for a low price DAP, maybe to get yourself your feet wet into the world of hi-fi music, this is not a bad way to go actually. You know, it's not a super expensive player, but it delivers some good quality, and the actual benefits of using it are pretty good. Now, the downside of this, people have said, like, how do we update it? Like, is it updatable? That kind of thing. And the truth of the matter is this device is kind of a offline device. Like, you can, download music files to it, that kind of thing, but it's not like a full-on Android device. So this isn't going to have like regular updates like some more expensive ones from Sony or whatever. And I am someone who believes in doing updates, so to make sure I do my due diligence on this topic, I did look further into it and reached out to the company. So right now there is I'll show you the latest version. Okay, I guess first I should show you how to get there. So from the main menu, just like this, okay, you can use a scroll wheel here to go through, and you want to go to settings. Let me go ahead and scan here. Hopefully I won't move this too much. Going to settings right there, settings, okay, so we're going to hit enter, and then from there there's a few different choices, okay, and system info right there is the one you want, so we're going to hit system info. Now do note there is one for format device, so if you feel like you've went astray at some point, you can reset it very easily to the factory specs, which is a nice touch actually. But we're going to go ahead, we're going to hit this for system info, information, and here you have some things saying upgrade, software version, disk space, that kind of thing. Let's look at software version. And you can see right there it is software version V2, version 2, 3.25.24. Okay, so that has been a good bit of time. Okay, we're talking it's been over a year without update. And that's not entirely uncommon for a lower price DAP that is kind of a offline device. It's not like a full-on Android device with, daily streaming and app store updates and all that good stuff. So that is true. Now, I did reach out to him and asked him about this, like, will there be updates in the future? It's possible, but it's probably unlikely, to be honest with you, because if they haven't had an update in a year, that's probably about it. Now, do note there is a version 2 and a version 1 of this 3.25.24 update. So if you are on the older version, like the version 1 update, then you might want to update to version 2. I could not actually get them to give me exacts what the difference is between the two updates. And I've not heard from anyone saying like there's some great benefit or added feature to the version 2 update. I think it was more like a bug fixes, that kind of thing, so it probably isn't even urgent that you do it. Now, because this is kind of an offline device, you pretty much have to go ahead and, download it on a PC or a laptop or something, and then add it to the SIM card that you stick in right there on the side, okay? And then from there, you can go ahead and update to a newer version if you want. Now, we're going to go ahead and hit back here. Let's see. We're going to go back. And if you go to upgrade here, you'll see we'll hit that, and it says no files found because there is no additional new file found for this on the device. You have to have the file, the upgrade file, in here ready to go. Now, one surprise that I got while making this video and reading your comments is that a lot of people seem like they're using this for ebooks, which really kind of surprised me, just largely because it's not a full-on online device. But it is a great little device, and I bet for ebooks it would sound pretty great actually. It would do the job very well. So if it's like audiobooks, and I would say that, though there is possibility of reading things on here, the screen's very small. So I'm thinking like audiobook playback. And a lot of people ask about, like, if you're playing an audiobook, will it remember where you left off at? Okay, and if you're reading or listening to rather some really long audiobook, that can be something where it'd be very beneficial to be able to go back to the exact location where you left off at, okay? I don't have an ebook saved, I don't believe here, unless there's a placeholder here. Card folder, local folder. Create list, yeah, so I do not have an ebook in here to test this, but to the best of my knowledge, unfortunately, I don't believe it does. If you have ebooks, and if you've listened to ebooks on here, audiobooks, let me know, okay, because I'm really curious about that. In fact, I might have to load an ebook later, but what I'm basing my information off of is, like, for the music player here, I would think it'd be the very kind of same thing, okay? So here you can, like, if you go back and you just log into it. There's last played, okay, which I guess in an audiobook sense would probably give you a track number, but it may not give you the exact word in the track. So if the tracks for the audiobook are very large, maybe it wouldn't help you. You see, if we click this here, it goes back to test music, and it starts at the beginning of the song. It doesn't start like halfway through the song or wherever I left off at. Okay, so it seems to start at the nearest chapter where you left off at, but not necessarily the exact second. Okay, so that might result in, if you're listening to audiobooks, fast forward or winding to get to the exact spot where you truly left off at, or maybe you don't even remember. So that is kind of a negative. I still like the interface for this device. It looks snappy. I like the little bars, it's a little small, but, it's a small device, and that's a plus and a minus. Like, it being small is actually kind of a perk that you don't have some huge honking thing in your pocket. So I do like that a lot. Another person wrote in asking if it comes with a screen protector on it, because they had a scratch or two on the screen somehow. And to the best of my knowledge, no, it does not. Sometimes these things have like a built-in factory screen protector, but just looking at it, I don't believe it does. The screen itself, one negative, I guess, would be the screen itself. The plastic here is kind of lower quality, I believe. So I could see how that could easily get scratched up. So just be careful while you're using it. And worst case scenario, it's not a very expensive unit. So buying another one, if you get scratched at the beach with sand or something or whatever, it probably wouldn't be the end of the world. Like, you probably could just buy another one, or at least that's what I would do if the scratch is bothering me a lot, which I could see that possibly bothering me. Now, another viewer asked about formats, like, does it play DSF files? I mentioned DSF a lot. It's my favorite file format, but a lot of people have a hard time finding, things recorded in DSF, or, even being able to, like, play back the files on certain players. Now, according to Cappsu, this does play that. It plays MP3, WMAs, Waves, FLAC, APEs, DSF, okay, and that's direct stream digital, and it's part of like the DSD family of file formats. AAC, which is interesting. FA, okay, which could have been a typo, because I'm not quite sure about that particular FA format. I've never personally used that, okay? And there's other times where people say that there might be some formats like in FLAC or something where the way it's recorded, or at least the quality of it, might be higher than this player can actually reach. But this player is a good sounding player, for the money. Again, there's much more expensive players out there. This player is a sub $100 player, and there are players which, like the Sony NWA 306, that particular player is like, $350 or on sale for $300, and, it only goes up from that point, really. There's a lot of players from Sony and Astron Kern, that kind of thing, which could be, 500,000 and up, so it really goes up there. So for being a player which is under $100, that's a pretty darn good deal. You can actually play a lot of formats, and keep in mind that whenever you're listening to HD music, it's very important to have three good things. You know what that is? Number one would be a great file format, okay? Have something recorded on the highest quality file that your unit will play, or that you can get your hands on, okay? Number two is a player that's capable of playing that file format, to the best extreme. And I could go really deep dive into chipsets and all sorts of things, but I'll save that for you later. But if you really have a super geeky question or something, super technical question, let me know in the comments below, and frequently I will deep dive into very rare random questions about chipsets and whatnot. But it's not a bad chip. It's not bad. For the money, you're getting some good music out of it for sure, And the third most important thing, of course, is headphones, okay? And of course, wired headphones are preferred for HD music, but I know you guys love your Bluetooths, and, that is something I use sometimes too, I get it. So it is possible to get a good experience from Bluetooth, of course, but if you really want to have the best experience, of course, I always recommend wired headphones, and good quality ones at that. Maybe like the Sony ones, the flagship ones. I will have links in my videos. Of course, you go back in my queue, you'll see I review a lot of different headphones and in-ear monitors of different brands and different qualities. So there's a lot of options out there for you. But anyway, guys, just to wrap this up, still a great player, still using it. If you guys have questions, let me know in the comments below, okay? Or email me at tuxtoys@gmail.com. And for the money, this, again, the standout, if I could say one thing about this to the company that makes it, to Cappsu, I'm really impressed with the build quality of this. It feels in your hand, this feels like a much more expensive device than it really has a right to feel like. It feels really good quality in your hand. If you handed this to a friend or something, they might be like, whoa, like this could be somebody super expensive player. What's with that? It's a really nice player. I do like the little wheel, although the wheel does do a few weird things. Like, I kind of like sometimes think it should do volume, and it seems to do track. Like right now, if I move the wheel up, you think it would increase the volume, but it increases the track. So it's kind of like the same as forward and reverse buttons here. You know, to increase the volume, you have to do the side thing right here, you know, which luckily is facing the right direction. So if you're driving, you can see the screen, and up is up, you know, which is good. So anyway, guys, again, thank you for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Any questions, reach out to me, tuxtoys@gmail.com. You guys know I'm here to help, okay? We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Click the links.